Welcome to our video exploring the fascinating world of Pokemon and their placement on the Tree of Life. Today, we take a closer look at Ledian and its connection to Pinsir. Ready? Let's go! Ladybugs, Coccinellidae, are a globally distributed family of dome-shaped flying beetles whose wing covers usually display a varying number of striking spots. Many species feed on aphids and scale insects. More than 6,000 species are known. Ladybugs are very popular among people and are known by many different names in local languages and dialects. Their popularity is partly due to their usefulness in gardening and agriculture, as during their larval stage, they can consume up to 3,000 aphids or spider mites, depending on the species. Their appearance is highly variable, which makes identification difficult. The same species can appear in dozens of pattern variations. Some, such as the lucerne ladybug, even reach more than 4,000 recorded variants. In the past, these variations within the same species were given separate names. For example, the two-spot ladybug, Adalia bipunctata, had more than 150 designations, though these are no longer used and are scientifically meaningless today. In some subgroups, such as within the tribe Simnini, species identification can be difficult and is only reliably possible through examination of the genital organs. Besides the genitalia, the head capsule, clypeus, and antenna insertions are often reliable distinguishing features between similar species. Ladybugs are strong flyers and can achieve 75 to 91 wing beats per second. Some species, such as the light ladybug, Calvia decemgitata, are attracted to artificial light at night, suggesting nocturnal dispersal flights. The body size of these strongly convex, short, hemispherical, or oval beetles ranges from 1 to 12 millimeters. The head, thorax, and underside are usually black, though some species have light brown or rust-colored undersides. The color of the head generally matches the rest of the body and can vary greatly. The antennae are relatively long, usually consisting of 11 segments and ending in a club-like shape. In some groups, the number of antenna segments is reduced. For example, the antennae of the Chilocarini have only 8 or 9 segments and are therefore shorter. The terminal segments of the maxillary palps in Central European species are hatchet-shaped. The mandibles differ greatly between species because the insects have adapted to their specific diets. Some species have hairy bodies, but the wing covers of the best-known species are smooth and completely unstructured. In some species, such as those in the Chilocarini, the edge of the wing covers is curved upward to varying degrees. The legs are structurally similar to those of other beetles. The tarsi also consist of 4 segments, although the second is strongly lobed and the third is often very small. Only a few species have a reduction to 3 tarsal segments. Body coloration can vary from pale beige to yellow, orange, all shades of brown, pink, red, and black. The best-known ladybugs have red, yellow, black, or brown wing covers. Germany's most famous species, the 7-spot ladybug, Coccinella septempunctata, owes its color to lycopene, the same pigment that makes tomatoes red, as well as alpha and beta-carotene, which are also important for the coloration of most other species. Black coloration is produced by melanin. Freshly emerged beetles only develop their coloration after a few hours. At first, they are almost white or yellowish, and their chitin has not yet hardened. In the species Sospia vigintigutata, the beetles are brown during their first year and only turn black during hibernation. Environmental influences affect this color change. It can occur at temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius and is accelerated by high humidity while being reduced by strong light exposure. Some species also display different color forms within the same species. The 2-spot ladybug, for example, may appear red with black spots or, more rarely, black with red spots, a phenomenon known as melanism. In maritime, humid regions, and large industrial urban areas, significantly more black forms develop, suggesting environmental influence. The black forms are genetically dominant over the red forms and therefore produce more dark offspring. The red form of the 2-spot ladybug has a higher survival rate during hibernation, whereas the black form reproduces more successfully and compensates for its losses. The reason for this lies in the fact that ladybugs, like all insects, are ectothermic, meaning their body temperature depends on the surrounding temperature. Black body parts absorb more heat than red ones. Under illumination, the body temperature of the black variant rises about 5.5 degrees Celsius above an ambient temperature of 18 degrees Celsius, while the red variant rises by about 3 degrees Celsius. This also increases metabolic activity. In winter, however, this becomes disadvantageous because of large temperature fluctuations, resulting in higher mortality. Their striking coloration serves as a warning signal to predators. In addition, ladybugs have an unpleasant, bitter taste that makes them unattractive as prey. When threatened, they can also secrete a yellowish fluid from openings in their leg joints, a behavior known as reflex bleeding. This defensive secretion repels enemies through its unpleasant odor and also contains toxic alkaloids called coccinelline. At the same time, ladybugs often play dead, thanatosis, and pull their legs into small grooves on the underside of the body. In certain species of the Epilachnini tribe, the yellow fluid is secreted from special dermal glands. The characteristic feature of ladybugs is the symmetrically arranged spots on their wing covers. These are usually black, but there are also species with light red or brown spots. Species occur with 2, 4, 5, 7, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 22, and 24 spots. Within individual species, the spots may also vary. Some beetles have no spots at all, while in others the spots merge together so that almost the entire body appears black. Contrary to a widespread misconception, the number of spots does not indicate the age of the beetle. Instead, the number of spots is characteristic of each species and does not change during the beetle's lifetime. Closely related species, such as those in the genus Coccinella, often display similar spot patterns. The appearance of the larvae is highly diverse depending on the species. Most are elongated and stout, ranging from 1.5 to 15 millimeters in length. Most are bluish-gray, brown, or yellow and have yellow, orange, or red spots. They bear black or red warts across the body, from which bristly hairs or spines emerge. Their coloration often hints at the appearance of the adult beetle. For example, the larva of the 22-spot ladybug is yellow with black spots, just like the adult beetle. With the exception of the Stethorni, the larvae are covered with a wax layer that protects them, among other things, from ants. The larvae of some species, such as the 7-spot ladybug, have relatively long legs and resemble miniature dragonfly larvae. In most ladybug species, the sexes differ only slightly. Males are generally somewhat smaller and lighter than females, but the differences are too small and variable to allow reliable identification. The 5th abdominal sternite of females is slightly more pointed than that of males. In some species, however, not only body shape but also coloration differs between the sexes. This is the case in many species of the genus Scymnus and in the 14-spot ladybug, Propylia quatuordecimpunctata. In the conifer ladybug, Aphodecta obliterata, males are uniformly brown, while females develop dark markings on the wing covers to varying degrees. The primary food source for many ladybug species and their larvae consists of aphids and/or scale insects. When food is abundant, they may consume up to 50 prey items per day and several thousand during their lifetime. For this reason, ladybugs are considered beneficial insects and are bred for biological pest control. Their diet also includes spider mites, true bugs, thrips, beetle larvae, sawfly larvae, and occasionally even caterpillars. However, there are also species that feed on plants and thereby become pests themselves. Plant-feeding species can become agricultural pests, subfamily Epilachninae, including the 24-spot ladybug. Other species feed on powdery mildew or mold fungi, tribes Heliziani and Silobarini, including the 16-spot ladybug and the 22-spot ladybug. When food becomes scarce, otherwise predatory species sometimes switch to plant-based food sources. These are often fruits, but also pollen. The larvae of Boulea leketchovi feed exclusively on pollen. During the final larval stage, the larvae consume the greatest amount of food. This stage is accelerated by high ambient temperatures. As a result, they, especially those of the genus Coccinella, become more voracious but consume fewer aphids overall, even though aphid populations themselves increase more rapidly under these favorable conditions. On the other hand, when conditions for aphids are poor, Coccinella species can contribute to the complete disappearance of aphids. However, predator and prey populations regulate themselves naturally. Since ladybug larvae are very sensitive to food shortages, a year with many aphids and consequently many beetles is often followed by a year with few beetles, because there is insufficient prey to ensure the development of all new larvae. Ladybugs, and especially their larvae, are also cannibalistic. During mass occurrences in particular, the insects feed on one another. The first larvae to hatch regularly consume their unhatched siblings, resulting in the loss of more than half of the eggs in many cases. Ladybugs are distributed worldwide, but they occur mainly in subtropical and tropical regions, especially in Africa, Asia, the Americas, Australia, and various tropical islands. In the colder regions of America and Asia, as well as in Europe, they are represented by comparatively fewer species because they prefer warm climates. This is also reflected in the comparatively species-rich southern Europe versus the north. They inhabit forests, meadows, dry grasslands, bogs, heathlands, parks, and gardens. Their habitats are often strongly linked to the plants they require and the food available there. Heather ladybugs, Coccinella hieroglyphica, can only live where heather grows, whereas the 14-spot ladybug can adapt to many different habitats. In principle, each species has 3 habitat types. The habitat for larval development, where specific food is needed on certain plants. The habitat for adult beetles, which often coincides with that of the larvae, but differs in pollen-feeding species. The overwintering habitat, which is often far removed from the developmental habitat. In Europe, there are also species that do not normally encounter ideal conditions because they are adapted either to colder or warmer climates. These species occur only locally in warm, sunny places, Simnus subvelosus, or in cool areas such as bogs, the 7-spotted flat ladybug, Hippodamia septimaculata. Other species, such as Rhizobius chrysomaloides, found in Eastern Europe, Spain, and Italy, and the uniform ladybug, Rhizobius licura, native to Western Europe and Greece, exclude one another geographically in their distributions, vicariance. Ladybugs undertake different types of flights. Some are short flights during food searches, while others cover very large distances in order to reach overwintering sites. When they cannot find sufficient food in a certain area, they may also migrate in large swarms. During long-distance flights, they depend on the wind and can influence their direction only slightly. They orient themselves visually or by climatic factors. In Europe, such migrations are rarely observed and usually occur along coastlines. Some species, such as Spiladelpha borovsky, cannot fly at all. There are also European species, such as Rhizobius licura, in which only a small proportion of individuals, about 7%, develop fully functional wings. Wing development depends on the animal's habitat. In Great Britain, for example, the wings of the 24-spot ladybug are much less developed than those of southern and eastern European individuals. One reason for this is the varying risk of parasitic infestation. Ladybugs can float passively thanks to the airspace beneath their wing covers, and are sometimes carried long distances by floods, especially during winter. If blown out to sea by the wind and later landing in the water, they may wash back onto beaches in huge numbers. This can reach astonishing proportions. Strong waves, however, give the insects little chance of survival, and only a small proportion survive the dangers of water, surf, sand, and freshwater shortages. In 1989, a massive swarm of 7-spot ladybugs was blown ashore along the Baltic Sea coast by the wind. Because they all displayed light coloration, it was clear that they had only recently emerged. They probably originated from Denmark, about 40 kilometers away. Within 3 hours, an estimated 27 to 78 million individuals were recorded. They settled in densities of more than 1,100 beetles per square meter in prominent locations. Several days later, an estimated 10 to 20 million individuals were still present near the beach and had begun devouring one another due to food and water shortages. Their biting even drove beachgoers away. A similarly large ladybug invasion occurred on the Baltic coast in late July and early August 2009. Occasionally, closely related species interbreed. This occurs, for example, in Central Asia near Tashkent, where the distribution ranges of the striped spotted ladybug, Chilochorus bipustulatus, and Chilochorus geminis overlap. In general, if the hybrid offspring develop at all and are viable, they are sterile and unable to produce offspring themselves. They often display unusual markings that resemble a mixture of the 2 parent species. Ladybugs exhibit 4 different patterns of generation cycles. Voltinism. Univoltine species. Reproduction occurs in summer, and after a possible summer dormancy, the animals overwinter. Most Central European species belong to this group. Bivoltine species. They produce 2 generations per year, with the second generation hatching either shortly after the first or only after summer dormancy. In Europe, this is temporarily the case for Adalia bipunctata and Coccinella septempunctata, polyvoltine species with diapause. Many generations occur each year, which subsequently overwinter. They are found in warm regions that still experience winters. Polyvoltine species. These continuously produce new generations in regions without distinct seasons. They live in tropical and warm areas such as India, Florida, and Hawaii. Ladybugs have numerous predators, including birds, lizards, shrews, frogs, spiders, and other insects, especially ground beetles and assassin bugs. In addition, they serve as hosts for parasitoids, particularly from the order Hymenoptera. Some ladybug species have a specialized enemy found only on them, the ladybug braconid wasp, Dinocampus coccinelli. Using its ovipositor, the wasp deposits an egg beneath the beetle's wing covers. The emerging larva feeds on the beetle's body fluids and fat tissue, while developing parasitically inside it. It even overwinters with the beetle and kills it only in the following spring by consuming its vital organs. The larva then breaks through the beetle's shell and pupates beneath the dead insect. Chalcid wasps of the family Incertidae, especially the genus Homolotulus, also parasitize ladybugs. The affected larvae are unable to pupate, dry out, and are consumed from the inside. Other parasites, such as mites and nematodes, merely weaken the beetles or use them only as transport hosts. Ants attempt to drive the beetles away from the aphid colonies they tend. Although the beetles and larvae are largely protected by their wax coating, sluggish behavior, spines, and their dome-shaped smooth bodies, they are sometimes pushed from leaves or even killed. The eggs are the most vulnerable stage, as they are completely defenseless against predators. Ladybugs can also become infected with viruses, bacteria, and fungi, which leads to high mortality rates during winter dormancy. That's it for now. In the next video, we take a closer look at Ariados and its surprising connection to Kabutops. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a like, and tune in next time as we continue exploring the Tree of Life. Pokemon Edition!